Welcome back. This is Geometry's Chapter 3, Video 4. We'll be talking about proving theorems about parallel lines. Our essential question is for which of the theorems involving parallel lines and the transversal is the converse true? We talked a little bit about this already. So we need to learn some new ideas or concepts. The first thing is a two-column proof. The two-column proof is a T-table. It has two columns. The left column is labeled statement. The right column is our reasons. And so we're going to be making a claim, which is our statement. And we're going to be backing up with stuff that we know that it's true. And that's our reasons or the support. We'll be told where we want to go with our claims, and we will try to get there using the math. One new concept that we need is the transitive property. What the transitive property says that if A equals B and B equals C, then we can say that A equals C. Now, I like to see it in terms of like a chain. I like to see it as if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, we can drop B and just keep the ends so that A equals C. And we're going to see an example of that right now when we work our first problem. Okay, so here's an example. We have two lines, G and H, and they are cut by a transversal. We want to prove that if two lines are cut by a transversal so that the alternate interior angles are congruent. Here's our alternate interior angles 4 and 5, and we are told they are equal. We want to show that then the lines are parallel, that G and H are parallel. Right now we don't know that. We just know that 4 and 5 are congruent, and we have all our previous theorems about lines cut by transversal. So the way that we start is we start with a two-column proof, our statement and reason. And then the first thing that we put down is the information that was given to us. We know that angle 4 is congruent to angle 5. And our reason is it was given to us in the problem. It tells us that angle 4 is congruent to angle 5. So good. Now we want to look for something else that we know that is always true. Well, our next thing is that angle 1 is congruent to angle 4 because they're vertical angles. Vertical angles are always congruent whether the lines around them are parallel or not. These two lines are always congruent. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 4, and angle 4 is congruent to angle 5. But see, that sounds familiar. That sounds like the transitive property. If angle 1 is congruent to angle 4, and angle 4 is congruent to angle 5, we can just say that angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 4. Angle 4 is congruent to angle 5. We can drop the angle 4 and say that angle 1 is congruent to angle 5 because of the transitive property. And so now we know that angle 1 and angle 5 are congruent. And those are corresponding angles. And since those two are corresponding angles, we can say that line G is parallel to line H because of the corresponding angles converse, which says if we have two lines cut by a transversal and the corresponding angles are congruent, the two lines must be parallel. Let's take some practice. We're always going to start off with our given information, everything they tell us in the problem, and then we want to look for something that's always true, and then we always want to finish where they asked us to go, and we got to fill in the blanks. Please write a summary, and then look for the handout. It's puzzle time, so we're going to be filling in the squares with our appropriate answers. Complete each exercise, find the answer in the answer column, write the word under the answer in the box containing the exercise letters, so it'll have an answer to why did the boy throw his clock out the window. We're going to be solving A, B, C, and D using this diagram here. And I also want you to use the diagram to complete the proof. It's saying that angle 2 is congruent to angle 8. And so we write that as a given. We want to prove that line R is parallel to line S. And in order to do that, you've been given 7 choices down here. You're going to be using these 7 choices, 3 of them to fill in E, F, and G.